Going on now, let's move on. Now, this is interesting. I think that's the most fun part about the Judgment Day, and that while the Bloodline has been about family and then adding new members, NWO was about just adding new members in general, and then they eventually split. Judgment Day has like evolved. This was a group that was Edge and Priest and Rhea to start, and then Finn, and then to where it's at now, and now we're talking. And Dominik Mysterio has been hinting at this idea. And Finn Balor keeps hilariously shutting it down. That's the highlight of entertainment every week of a new member. And they're a pretty big group. It just feels like at some point this is going to split, and then maybe two factions, or maybe people just go on their own, but there'll probably be still one group that comes out of this. But if they do add another member, we kind of cover this on Ringside, but not here on the show. Who should be a potential new member of the Judgment Day? Now, I went over on the site. The options I threw out there, and I'm going to give it to you, and then, or maybe you have some other options. Now, I thought Ludwig Kaiser. Now, that might seem crazy, but one, we can't forget that him and Dominik were in a backstage segment. They were talking to each other in the background. They weren't talking on air, so that's something interesting. And also, he came up with Imperium. He's doing well by himself, but maybe that kind of mix of his style and Judgment Day's kind of style, and altering it a little bit is good for both sides. It takes Jamie Judgment Day in a different place. It brings him to a different direction. It involves him. That's why him. I suggest Ludwig Kaiser. Pete Dunne is not doing anything. They could easily just be waiting for Tyler Bate to come back, put that team back together. I'd be completely fine with that. I love that tag team. I think they're great, and they could go against so many people. But if not, I think Pete Dunne kind of fits, especially if there's a split and it's Finn and JD go elsewhere. He kind of fills that JD role in a lot of ways, but he's tenacious and he's fiery, so he'd be interesting. Ridge Holland, that's one thing Judgment Day has lacked since Damian Priest. They don't have a big muscle guy. Ridge Holland's kind of seems like he's kind of stalled a little bit in NXT. Maybe they bring him back to the main roster. That would be an interesting guy. And plus, Judgment Day has been unique in that they've always had a lot of international stars. Be it Rhea, now that JD and Finn, he'd be another one that would fit with that too. Jeff Cobb, there's been a lot of talk that either Jeff Cobb is on the WWE's radar or is already signed. He'd be interested, again, going to the idea of muscle. I can see him, again, multicultural, unique group and stuff like that. He'd be an interesting idea. And the other one is Karrion Kross. And we saw this past week in the background, Dominik talking to Karrion Kross. I love the idea of just him being this manipulator character. He's lost his group. Maybe he feels, I'll take this group. I'll get in, snake my way in. I'll become the leader, and they'll follow me, and that'll be the thing. The only difficult part of that is what happens to Scarlett. Like, you have Scarlett, you have Liv, you have Raquel. I don't know if that makes enough sense. I still wouldn't be against it on the right scenario, but what are your thoughts? Are any of those make sense to you as a new Judgment Day member, or is there somebody else you see outside that you think would be a good fit?
Ooh, you hit the nail right on the head with that last one. My pick is Kross in this scenario. I love,
of course,
Kross's character. Yeah, of course, Kross is my guy, but especially lately, I really love the manipulative character that he's turned it up so much in the last few months. It's been tremendous. He's been an asset to every backstage segment that he's been a part of. And I think this could be the key to taking him to the next level. To your point, just kind of him sneaking his way into this group. He lost his previous group, needs some new backup. This could be that backup. And I would like for this to be a scenario to where he's kind of, makes a deal and gets involved with the group, and it almost becomes a lot more than they bargained for. Almost like Dominik starts looking at it as like Lando when Empire Strikes Back. His deal is getting worse.
And Kross as a bad guy with them backing him up, that's like top heel possibilities.
Yes. 100%, and he can get really, really dark with it to the point where it might be even too dark for a group like the Judgment Days, where like a Carlito and Dominik might be looking around a little worried. To the Scarlett thing, I actually think that fits very well in the sense that, she's been kind of underutilized, and having her in the group might raise some question marks for like Liv and Raquel to the point where it gets a little catty, and the more power Karrion starts to amass, that could be a natural feud to where Scarlett kind of goes up against like Liv and Raquel. Yeah. Maybe Scarlett gets someone on her side, maybe someone from NXT, that gets called up like a Jada Parker or somebody like that. Well, Jada, I'd like to stay solo, but you know what I mean? Like somebody that can back up Scarlett, and you have like a tag team scenario there. I think that'd be ready made. You know what I mean? In terms of like other choices, if we're going pure muscle, I love Jeff Cobb. I think Jeff Cobb coming in and being the muscle for Judgment Day would put him a big spotlight on him. I think that would be really great. I think that'd be a better choice than like a Ridge Holland. I think Ridge Holland is a little bit more of a boring choice in that scenario. But if they're looking to utilize him well, this would be the opportunity to. Once upon a time, I thought JD McDonough was kind of boring, and Judgment Day did.
Carlito, I don't know why he was in the group. I was like, but that's what they do.
The Judgment Day has this magic thing where they kind of just elevate everybody involved, except for Edge, but that's another story.
R-Truth, they completely took R-Truth to a whole nother level. He was good, but he took him to a whole nother level with the Judgment Day stuff.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of scenarios that they could play with this. I don't think there's a bad choice that they can make, but if you're asking me my top choice, I think the cross scenario, there's a lot they can do with that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and with Jeff Cobb too, what's also underrated about Judgment Day, everybody's like really good wrestlers for the most part. Carlito's a little older and stuff like that, but like everybody can go in that group, in their various iterations, stuff like that. So to have a Jeff Cobb, again, he's a very good performer in New Japan. He would just fit right in with that guy. Yep, another one that can wrestle, fill multiple roles, be very, very useful. But